Marshall, I want to start with you because you started your career as a Goldman analyst. Why decide to focus exclusively on Gen Z? How big do you think this opportunity is, and are other investors missing this?
It's monumental. And first of all, thank you so much for having us. Josh and I are super appreciative to be here. It means a lot to both of us. It's monumental, honestly. I think that for me to have the opportunity to partner with someone like folks like Josh, as well as Griffin and Noah and Michael on this, it's a completely unique opportunity. The market is not 100% untapped, but it is 100% untapped in terms of folks like them who aren't just sitting with their fingers on the pulse of Gen Z, but are the pulse of Gen Z to affect investment outcomes, to improve the lives and performances of founders, to connect them in a really organic, thoughtful way with consumers to drive business outcomes is awesome. And it's something that was a completely fantastic career opportunity for me. And honestly, I'm just glad that Josh and Michael and I got along so well that this took off like a gun here. It was fantastic.
So Josh, you're just 19 years old, 25 million followers on TikTok, 7.4 million on Instagram, 2.4 million on YouTube. How did you grow that following?
Yeah, just ever since the start of doing social media, I've been a competitive person my whole life. And I decided very early on, whatever I was going to do, I was going to be the best at it. So I set goals when I started social media of making it to 10,000 followers by the end of a summer. I had signed up my sister and put her on a 15% commission-based salary. And I treated it exactly like a business right from the get-go. So I think just looking for white spaces in the social media scene, and I was live streaming at the time back in the summer of 2016 when I first started, and really studying the For You page, it just allowed me to realize what I needed to do, tackle that space, and then just move forward with it.
Marshall, so many people, most of them older than Josh, don't understand this new world, don't understand what the opportunity is. By having folks like him at the founder level, how are they influencing the decisions you're making, where you're placing your bets, what you think the next hot thing will actually be?
I think that the first thing to point out, and I don't mean to gas Josh up too much, is you don't have a lot of folks, creators like Josh who are not just so enterprising, but are this hardworking in order to capitalize on this opportunity. So I think in terms of answering your question, I think that we have a real opportunity to affect business outcomes here. So and Josh and I talk about this all the time, but for me, I'm getting in, I'm doing a fundamental sort of bottoms up, top down analysis of some of these businesses, addressing the product market fit, thinking about the total addressable market, thinking about margin expansion and customer acquisition costs, et cetera. And then when it comes time for us to do meetings, me, Josh, Griffin, founders, there has to be a sexiness to it. There has to be something that stands out about that product or service, and what oftentimes is a really crowded space, for us to want to believe in them, for us to want to go to war with them, and to drive their business across not just Josh and Griffin and Noah's audience, but across the entire multiple sociodemographic groups of folks across the country and the world.
So Josh, there are so many young people out there who want to know how you did it, who want to do what you do, going from some viral videos to sponsorship deals and podcasts and becoming an operating partner at a VC firm. Walk us through how you made that happen.
Yeah, I mean, I've always just focused on expanding into different categories and verticals. I've really made it part of my career that I'm able to pivot and I'm able to add depth. So for all those other social media influencers out there, what I've tried to do is lead the way or set a path so that they don't have to be held to those stigmas anymore. They don't have to be told what they can and cannot do. I think being in this space, a lot of the times we're labeled as social media creators, and that's all we can be. But I'm trying to obviously prove everyone wrong, and I am doing that. So I think more than anything, I'm just trying to be a voice for the social media creators in the world that have aspirations to be more than just a face on a screen.
Now, Marshall, clearly the audience that Josh and other stars have built is massive, but there's always something bright and shiny around the corner. Do you worry at all about this kind of fame being fleeting? Do you worry at all about the next TikTok?
I would be remiss to say we didn't talk about it. I'm not super worried that it is right around the corner or tomorrow. I think that it's exactly what Josh said. I think it's destigmatizing just being a social media post for Josh. It's not just folks like Josh that want to be venture capitalists, but it can be influencers that want to consult for companies and do other things for them. And so, yes, I think that sometimes social media fame is fleeting, but when you do what Josh and I are doing with our sort of small and hopefully growing enterprise by putting tent poles under the different pieces of these business to create real structure, we won't just be relevant, in Josh's, late teens and 20s. We're going to be relevant in our third and our fourth and our fifth fund by continuing to point out those trends and working with younger talent and talent that addresses different demographics, over the course of time.
Well, and I wonder if we're seeing the emergence of the next generation of investors. Josh, knowing that, how do you plan to keep growing your audience, knowing that there are so many folks out there competing for our time? How do you get new followers? How do you continue to build the following you have?
I really pride myself in doing things that no one would expect. Even doing interviews on Bloomberg is something that a lot of people would not expect a social media creator to do or be able to do. So that's how I continue to grow. That's how I continue to stay in front of people's eyes, is every day coming out or every month coming out with something that's going to make people go, how? Or the term we usually use, I'm not allowed to say on TV because it has a cuss word in it, but what the F? You know what I'm saying? So I think as long as I'm able to keep making people stay on their toes and wonder what's Josh Richards' next move is going to be, I'm always going to be relevant and I'm always going to be in the scene.
Thanks for keeping it PG for us, Josh. We spoke to Katie Feeney yesterday. She said she's still planning to go to college. She wants to study business. Do you think you need to go to college? What's your long-term plan?
Yeah, so I think that when we talk about the new generation and these new paths that I'm creating, I don't think that the college route is for everyone. I think that that's become something that's a lot more acceptable too in today's world. When I even look back to when I was 12 or 13 and creating these small businesses and companies in my basement, my parents still had the aspirations that I was going to go to college and be a lawyer or whatever I decided to be. But as time moved on, my parents were first to realize, you know what, this kid doesn't need to go to college. This kid will be very, very successful in the ventures he continues to go down and strive for. So not only am I hoping to break stigmas in the social media world or pave new paths there, but in everyday lives, I think that there's a lot of high school students out there that can go right out of high school and co-found a company. So I hope that I'm able to put that faith in a lot of people.